imagine anything more embarrassing than being these kids' parents.
Not about the cells. It's not about. No. I'm speaking. No, 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 I'm.
Pleasure to meet you.
Let's stay cordial. Let's stay respectful, please. Please, please.
That's how we define it in society, no shit.
Okay, got it. So
You have no idea what you're talking about.
They don't.
You think
all have to-
300,000 miners are lost in America? Are you crazy?
I'm saying Latin.
What the? I'm sorry. Is this
It means little human being.
His smile is very creepy. Okay.
Smiling is creepy.
No, your smile specifically.
Got it.
But let's go back.
Nice to meet you. Oh wow, you look better in person.
They're so confident in their political beliefs that they go onto a debate show, but then when they're confronted with someone that disagrees with them, they cannot eloquently put their perspective into words. Instead, they resort to yelling, to cussing, to name calling, to insulting someone's physical appearance. These are some of the most out of touch brats I have ever seen. How are these kids functioning in day-to-day life? Have they ever encountered someone that disagrees with them? And I know this is not all the people that go on this show. Some people do bring up good points and they defend their position very eloquently and they are respectful, but there are quite a few that go on the show that are not, and the way that they cheer each other on in their echo chamber of disrespect and rudeness just like seriously makes my skin crawl.
What's going on, guys? As you saw from the clip, we're gonna do a reaction to Ben Shapiro debating 25 woke Harrison supporting liberals. And I wanted to do this video because the way they behave reminded me a lot of when I was in college, right? Because I would disagree with someone in class, right? I did a political science one-on-one class. After that class, I decided college wasn't for me and I dropped out. And one of the things I noticed was the fact the disrespect, the way they egg each other on. And I was like, you guys are not making any sense whatsoever. But here you guys chewing, period, doing like they embolden each other to do this nonsense. And when they run across someone who actually knows what they're talking about, right? I remember the fondest memory of college is when the women in class was complaining about how hard it is to be a woman and how the wage gap is still a thing and how, oh, women don't make as much as men. And then I disagreed reasonably. I said, well, men work more hours. They tend to take less vacation time. And she said, we're not talking about hourly wage. We're talking about salary, sir. And then all the girls and they'll go, ooh. And then all I did was eloquently laid out, hey, if I'm more dedicated to a job, wouldn't that make me have a higher likely chance to justify a raise? Men statistically ask for raises more often than women do. Statistically, men pitch themselves, right? They're more likely to negotiate their salary at the start of a position. Women are less likely to do that. I said, don't these behaviors often translate to higher income? Quiet. Because at the end of the day, I don't believe in identity politics. Like, I believe this has no control over your outcomes, right? But I digress. I want to show you this clip of Ben Shapiro kind of debating one of these liberals, and then we'll get into my full reaction later. So let's take a look at this clip.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Hello. Nice to meet you. Oh wow, you look better in person. Okay, so
It's very sweet of you. I don't often get that, so thank you.
Okay, it's fine. But yeah, how do you define abortion really quickly?
Abortion would be the forcible termination of an unborn human life.
Yes, but like, why do you hold that definition? Like, would you not assume like something like a C-section would be considered an abortion?
No, because the baby is born alive. So
But
how would that be an abortion?
What does the definition of abortion have to include the death of a fetus?
Because that's literally the definition of abortion.
It literally isn't though. Where are you getting this definition from?
Where are you getting your definition from?
Let's go to like do you like fucking like Mayo Clinic, like any fucking like hospital you've ever gone to before?
A C-section ends with the birth of the child.
Right, but
I know,
but abortion,
both I and all three of my siblings were born via
generally.
C-section.
Yeah, I understand this.
I'm here. I'm talking to you.
I know, baby.
Thus I was not aborted.
I understand this, but like yes, but like no. Well, yes, but like no. But no, you could simply say that abortion is simply the ending of a pregnancy, right? So the ending of a pregnancy outside of the natural
you can't say that.
Birth of a fetus. So I don't see that. I don't see why you would say that like it would have to end in the death of a fetus, which is why I'm pro-abortion all 9 months, right?
Sorry, I had to cut in here. Did she just say I'm for abortion all 9 months? And that's why she's like, make it make sense. And this is my thing. There's no definitions when these people talk, right? She's here rambling, stammering, like I can't even. I'm like, yo, you're not making sense, lady. An abortion is the end of a human life, period. If you're born alive, you were birthed. Abortion simply means the end of a pregnancy. There's two ways you can end a pregnancy: with birth or with an abortion. That's it. An abortion results in the death of what you call a fetus, which, if you look at the definition of fetus, simply means human offspring, aka your child. This is why many people says abortion isn't healthcare. Abortion is death care. Because for an abortion to be successful, the child has to die. And this is something you can observe in reality. I don't care about your little subjective framings on how you think it's supposed to go. What's the reality of it? And this is why I don't take a lot of these pro-abortion people seriously. And I think many people who are pro-abortion, this is my personal opinion, are the most uneducated people when it comes to the birthing process. Because imagine this, a single woman, a single childless woman thinks that she knows more about the birthing process than someone who's a father, such as myself, Ben Shapiro, who've been with our wives, and we seen the birthing process since I found out my kid was 3 weeks old, wiggling in the womb. I was like, yo, how can you say this is not a life? It's moving on its own. You can get a semblance of it. It's a human life. And they don't want to talk about the ethical questions around that. Because at the end of the day, when you create laws, you're creating an ethical standard on society. And why shouldn't I be allowed to question or put up positions about an ethical law that we want to enforce in society? Make it make sense. Saying slavery should be abolished is an ethical law. That you want to change law saying, hey, this thing we're doing here isn't ethical. So because of my gender, you saying that I don't have a say over that? It's the same way as saying, so because of your skin color, you don't have a say over the freedoms of these people. Make it make sense. In American history, we have a habit of extending rights, not taking rights away. And my argument here is the same way we extended rights to human slaves, why can't we do that for unborn children? But hey, like I said, the Democratic Party, the leftists, has always been the people of discrimination. Let's continue with the clip.
Have to end in the death of a fetus, which is why I'm pro-abortion all 9 months, right? Because say if a woman is not able to pass a fetus in the natural way, we could have these other abortion processes that would say like, okay, like she needs some type of induction that doesn't include the actual natural expulsion of a fetus. But it doesn't always end in the death of a fetus. So I don't see how you could say that Kamala Harris' stance is immoral in this sense.
I just don't understand how you're removing the death of the fetus from the equation about abortion. That's literally the entire moral issue. You and I would not even be arguing if we were talking about C-sections or about natural birth.
But it seems like at its core, though, we disagree on what the inherent definition of abortion
then
is.
You could leave away. We could very easily solve this. Let's just not talk about the word abortion. Let's talk about the forcible termination of a baby.
Okay. So then, what do you value in the fetus then?
The life of the fetus.
Okay. So then, when is this? You said it begins at conception.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because that is literally the biological definition of when an independent life begins.
Yes, but like, why does it have moral value?
It has moral value because that's literally the biological definition of when a human life begins.
Right, but like, why does that have moral value though?
Okay, why does any life have moral value?
I would value sentience.
But why?
Right, because
Based on what?
This is simply what we value, like you and I value. Like, is it okay to like unplug like a brain dead patient, for example?
I mean, the question is whether it's okay to unplug a brain dead patient. Actually, quite a controversial one in sort of religious circles.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as why, I'm just wondering if somebody's in a coma and you know they're going to wake up, do you have the right to unplug them?
Well, coma's not brain dead though. We know that there's future sentience there. Like it would be like a matter of like a construct of like past, future. Like past, present, or future sentience. But like a person in a coma has.
I agree, and guess what? Fetuses also have guaranteed future sentience.
Well, no, because you're only valuing one half of the conjunct. That's not right. So it would be past, present, or future.
Now you're changing the topic. I mean, we started with what's the value of the fetus.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
I don't know, bro. Hey, man, I that was the best Kamala impression I ever seen in my life, honestly. And I don't know. I feel like I find myself talking about abortion a lot lately, but I don't know. I just think that if you just slow it all down, you know, you're not trying to win an argument. We're just trying to have a discussion on what is the reality of what the hell we're doing. Let's look at the result of what we're doing, right? Because abortionists know the reality is they're killing a child, regardless if they want to pretend it's not a baby, it's not a human life. She asks, what gives it moral value? What gives anything moral value? If we wonder, like, let's say something that she cares about, a woman's right to vote, right? Let's go with voting rights. What moral value it is that we should give women any rights to vote? I'm just being honest, right? Like what's the moral argument you'll make for why women should be allowed to vote? Let me know in the comment section. And after you leave the comment section, after you leave that comment of why women should have the moral right to vote, why can I not have the moral right to argue why you should not be able to kill your child because you think it's inconvenient to your situation? Regardless, like end of the day, as a parent, your job is to protect and provide for your child. regardless of how you got it, regardless of the circumstances that led up to that child. This is the moral argument that if I'm taking a purist example, that's what you should have. And I think the only compromise is safe, legal, rare, right? Which is abortion. All other abortions should be restricted except for life of the mother, rape or incest, and for medical. And all the abortion people, if you look at the data, if you look at the stats, if you look at the results, less than 1% of those cases are attributed to why women get abortions. Out of 1 million abortions a year, only 10,000 of those abortions are due to life of the mother was threatened, incest, or rape. So if I compromise with you and say, hey, we allow these 3 exceptions only, but all other forms of abortion are banned, you'll still disagree with me because the reality is you're only using these exceptions as a shield to protect the real motive for abortion. And that is simply to choose whether or not you can become a parent. And there's another hypocrisy point with the abortion topic too, and then I'll move on, is that y'all always talk about, women always talk about equality. But when it comes to reproductive rights, they seem to ignore the elephant in the room is that men do not have reproductive rights. Because if a man chooses he doesn't want to be a father, he is forced to be a father based on the whims of the woman. So you get to choose the parenting status of a man, and he is forced to provide for that child regardless if he wants to be with it or not. And then y'all complain about deadbeat fathers, when essentially someone can make the argument that you're forcing men to be something that they don't want to be. Just like you claim that us banning abortion is forcing women to be mothers who don't want to be mothers. So the same argument can be applied to men. So when you call a guy a deadbeat man, hey, he didn't want the child. Y'all are forcing him to have the baby. Y'all was forcing him to pay for the child. He didn't want to be involved in the child. Y'all forced him to pay child support and all this stuff, and you think he was going to love the kid? Same argument for the abortion people. Oh, you told she didn't want to have a baby. She had the baby on accident. She didn't plan for the baby, and you expect her to take care of it, even though she's not in a means to protect the child. Like, you have this double speak going on with the abortion people, right? And since they're morally inconsistent, men don't like inconsistencies. Men are like, yo, you either pick it one way or the other way. If men are forced to be parents, why isn't the same standard being applied to women? And this is the elephant in the room a lot of you abortionists don't want to talk about. I'm just saying. So I digress. So in this next clip, I'm going to give like a more in-depth reaction to some of it. It's going to be a 14-minute clip, but I don't think I'm going to spend too much time on it. So let's react to these clips together.
Good to meet you.
Kamala Harris supports the bipartisan border bill that was negotiated by conservative Senator James Lankford and supported by Mitch McConnell. Do you not support that bill? And
I do not support that bill.
So what is your solution then?
I mean, my solution is that this actually ought not be done in a comprehensive fashion. So I have a general critique of the way that we deal with immigration in the country. Instead of trying to solve all problems at once, which is very likely to end in nothing, what we ought to first do is we ought to close the border.
And then the border is closed right now. Do you agree?
The border is certainly not closed right now.
What do you mean? There's a small trickle of people coming over. The numbers are similar to the end of the...
All the numbers all y'all did was reshuffle how they come in. So they no longer come through the southern border anymore. Apparently, they're getting flown out from Mexico, if I remember correctly, and you're flying them around the country. This is why there's videos of people who don't speak English, giving papers to people, and we're like, oh, I guess we're supposed to let this person go into the airport unvetted, right? Us, American citizens, we got to go to TSA. They check us, right? Grab us inappropriately sometimes, right? Checking for stuff. Illegals just walking through. Just, okay, we're shipping them out. We're busting them out. Put them on an airplane and ship them out to Chicago, ship them out to New York, ship them out to Boston, Texas, Springfield, Ohio, right? So you shift how they move. You change the point of entry, and then you play this game of charades, sleight of hand. And this is some of the problems. People do not want this. Majority of Americans want mass deportation. And Kamala Harris is not providing that as part of her border policy, right? So I don't understand what this liberal here is trying to do here. And out of all of them, him and the fake man, I forgot his name already. I forgot her name already. But the fake man trying to pretend to be a man, like, you trying too hard, girl. Like, you try too hard. These people are some of the most when I talk about the liberal, all right, he is personified. Like, he's liberalism personified. Just look at him. This is the kind of guy that when I talk about, man, liberals are so condescending, liberals are so closed-minded. Liberals are so arrogant in their thinking that they think that if you're not a liberal, you're dumb. This is who I'm talking about. This is exactly who I'm talking about. The whole look, that's who I'm talking about. You don't look like this guy, I'm not talking about you. just as an aside, but let's continue.
The Trump administration, no?
Well, now because of executive order, they have been reduced significantly, but
Do you not agree that they're the same
that should
number
not
as the
be-
end of the Trump administration?
right now,
Yes.
it is on a monthly basis, but
Yes.
that's after letting in 6.5 million illegal immigrants.
So do you think Trump was failing then at the end of his administration?
I think that Donald Trump did a better job than Joe Biden. He certainly did not do a perfect job on illegal immigration.
So Joe Biden is matching what Donald Trump is doing right now. So
After
you
letting in
applaud Joe Biden?
No. If you look at the total number, and see, this is what I'm talking about, right? You're talking, we're talking about, he's talking about, hey, look, the trends are changing now. But I'm like, yo, you already let the problem in the first place, right? If I have, this is my house has 4 people in it. If you bring in a bunch of people in my house, let's say you bring 20 people into my house, and then I say, hey, you can't bring more people in there. And then you say, okay, well, only one's coming in now. Did we fix the problem? Didn't we? I'm like, you forgot the other people you let in my house? We got to kick them out. We got to do something about the people already in here. Sure, the flow has slowed down, but you still got to deal with the stuff that you, from the result of your previous implementation. And this is what we're talking about. They don't care. They don't care about touching the source problem. They care about treating the symptoms of a problem instead of the core issue of the problem. The core issue of the problem is we have too many illegals inside the country already. We need to decrease this number. We need to deport them out of the country. It's a way for them to mask the deportation angle because majority of Americans, y'all care about democracy so much. If majority of Americans say we want mass deportation, why aren't you giving the people what they want? And this is the hypocrisy I'm talking about with liberals. Y'all talk out of both sides of your, and you get mad that people don't want to vote for Kamala Harris. You're going to sit here and claim that minorities like me are voting against our best interests when if you look at statistics, minorities can be more easily replaceable than the majority. Hispanics already outpace Black Americans in the population numbers. Hispanics is the second population group after white people. And Black people who've been here for hundreds of years, more than the Hispanics, how they have a less population than the Hispanic voter? The abortion, right? And the fact that y'all importing a lot of people who happen to be of a Hispanic heritage. And you don't think that's a problem? This is why I laugh when these liberals try to paint replacement theory as some white supremacist talking. It's not. It's a nationalist talking point. It's a patriotism talking point. Replacement theory affects all Americans. Because if I bring a bunch of people from Africa, which the continent of Africa, which has about 1 billion people total, and I took 400 million people out of that country and I drop them into the United States of America, and I give them all voting rights, and I know exactly how to appeal to them, I could win the election. Based on what these people do, you don't think that will affect the people that already was here, that built the system here, that paid taxes here longer than these people I just made citizens? You don't think that's a problem? And this is the end result. This is the hypothetical cliff that conservatives are seeing as the problem. And we say, hey, we can't allow this to continue going on, except it'll take a longer time span for that to happen. But if you look at the total numbers of Trump's administration, and Trump at the end of his administration, when more illegals started crossing the border, it was due to the anticipation of President-elect Joe Biden. I love how they forget that context. And this is how disingenuous these people are. And then they're going to pretend minorities like me who vote for Trump are voting against our best interests. Get the F out of here.
After letting in 6.5 to 11 million illegal immigrants, I don't think you get to fill in that gap by doing like 4 months of good border policy.
Those are border encounters. We don't know how many of those people were turned away. We don't know how many of those people are still in this country. But those people make up a significant
10 million people crossed the border. You know how many people crossed the border total in Trump's entire administration? 4. And Joe Biden outpaced Trump 2 years ahead. Like in 2 years, he outpaced Trump's total border crossing numbers. And you think the border's secure? Get the
portion of our labor force as well, including in states like yours, Florida, where they make up like 5%.
So your argument is that it's not happening, and it's good that it is.
It's not happening? What do you mean?
That the illegal immigration pool is not very large, and also it's good that it is large.
I'm saying you guys make up numbers all the time. It's like
That argument
20,
is not from me.
30 million.
No, that's from the Wall Street Journal. I'm not making up that number.
Well, Donald Trump said he wants to deport 20 million of these guys. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that if we were going to look at deportations, we obviously ought to tranche that out based on criminal record. We ought to tranche it out based,
which a lot of them do, a large percentage of them do. There's like 400,000 people of them that have criminal records. You see crime has risen. If you look at New York, like, and then these people snickering in the back, like this is the ignorance of the liberal. And they only got worse the younger you go. The more sensible ones, they tend to be the older ones. I'll grant liberals that. I grant that grace. The older liberals tend to be the more sensible liberals. But as you go younger, they get more arrogant, more condescending. And that's probably why my view of liberals is so like dark, I guess, on them. Like I'm so meh on them, is because I'm 28 years old. I'm a young millennial. I'm like the youngest millennial ever. I think I'm the last millennial. I'm a zillennial, right? One more year, if I was born a year later, I'd have been a Gen Z. These Gen Z liberals, you can't even have a discussion with them without their feelings getting hurt. Millennial liberals, they okay. They still got the same condescending attitude, but Gen Z liberals, hey, that's why I don't go on TikTok.
on usefulness to the economy. I think we ought to look at each person individually and determine whether they ought to be deported or not.
So that is probably going to lead to a small trickle of people being kicked out of here. So that's not going to accomplish your goal.
Well, I mean, who said that my goal was to mass deport 20 million people all at once?
So you want 20 million?
Just like the illegals over time came into the country, over time we'll deport them. It's just we're going to deport a higher average of them. So we start bringing that net number down. Like, these people, I don't understand. They don't understand things step by step, right? And then these same people are going to try to lecture you because you don't see it their way when they can't even accurately articulate it their way. I'm tired, bro. I'm only a minute in and I already paused this video because of the arrogance. The arrogance. And I think this is what turns me off from liberalism. And liberalism got a bad name because of the people they allow in their movement. I digress.
Undocumented immigrants to stay in America.
No, no, that is not what I'm saying. I failed to see how you got from, I would like to go through one by one in the same way that we do IRS tax forms for literally every American who pays taxes in the United States.
Exactly.
And go through illegal immigrants and determine who ought to stay in the country and who not ought to stay in the country.
So what army is going to go over these 20 million people, and with what resources? Where are you going to detain them? How are you going to get them out of the country?
I mean,
you know how much it costs to maintain illegal immigrants into the country right now? About $400 billion on the highest. The lowest, $150 billion. So why he don't ask himself this question? Where are we going to find the money to maintain these people who can't work, who are living off of government welfare right now to sustain themselves, right? Where are we going to find the money to maintain all this cost year over year over year? Which is the cheaper option? Deport them so we don't have that on our balance sheet anymore, or maintain them in the country? Make it make sense. If you were so worried about cost, disingenuous, dishonest liberal, the obvious logical answer is deport them. That's the cheaper option. That's the more cost-effective option. Like, where are you going with this? He's just arguing just to argue. It's annoying.
You'll detain them and you'll deport them, increasing the resources of ICE. The biggest problem with regard to
similar to the bill that was rejected by you and
well, I mean, you're neglecting the part of the bill that allowed a baseline of 5,000 illegal immigrant border encounters before the executive branch automatically kicked in border enforcement.
So
I've been down to the border,
agree?
Okay, like I went down to the border, and let me tell you what I saw at the border, and then we can go. Okay, so
saw with your own eyes.
Not just saw with my own eyes. Talked to the border patrol agents. Okay, the way that the Biden administration was treating the border for the vast majority of their term was to treat a claim of asylum without evidence as evidence that the person ought to be given asylum. So the first priority was for Border Patrol to be activated to go to places where Mexican drug cartels were leaving people at the border en masse, and then to process those people and let them into the country within 72 hours. The goal of this for the Mexican drug cartels was to clear large swaths of the border of Border Patrol agents specifically, so that in those unoccupied areas, fentanyl and drugs could then be passed, human trafficking could then be passed in those unoccupied areas.
So you mentioned these cartels. You agree these cartels are profiting off human trafficking, right?
Of course.
So why don't we open up legal means for these people to come in here? Then they don't have to give the cartels money. They're making more money off human trafficking, right?
And I think the difference is that conservatives do not see asylum as a right. It's not a right. If you look at other countries, they don't just blatantly give you, like, they don't make it so easy for you to just come in their country and get access to their resources. Look at China, look at Japan, right? They have a process where we very We scrutinize who we give legal status to, and we're more open than them. And this guy has this perception that, oh yeah, we're just supposed to take everybody in. Do you just let anybody go in your house, sir? Government, everything we do in government is merely an extension of how you operate in a personal level. The scale is just a lot higher, right? I manage about 3 people, myself included, right, in the household, right? My 2 sons, myself, right? And my wife is like a vice president, if you want to take it that way. We manage the affairs of our house. A government is just a scaled up version of that. So what sense it makes for you to have your door open for anyone who comes in, use up all your resources, jack up your electricity bill, use up your water, use up your toilet paper. You go through resources a lot faster. Therefore, it's more expensive to maintain your standard of living within your household, but you don't think the same thing applies to a government. These people don't live in reality. I'm done, bro. I only want to react to 3 minutes of it. It's a good one. I think you guys should watch it. You guys should check it out for yourself. I might do another review on this video on my live stream tonight, but let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.